Hello! Yes, I'm copying Julia Childs, who was actually a spy in France in World War II. A 6 foot tall English woman who spoke French. And so, what a lovely day. Let me try to give you a little tour about. It's sunset here in Pflugerville, Plowerville, also Flyerville, depending how you interpret. And I timed it just perfectly so that when I came up here, all the fucking hypochondriac, over-insured, overpaid hypochondriacs were gone, and so was the staff. And it's like just barely a little after about 6 o'clock at sunset here, because this is Shabbos. This is the day of rest for the old Jew boy who has a full bottle of Johnny Walker Red. Now, I'll admit that I prefer single malt scotch, but to be honest, what I can afford is blended scotch whiskey. At least that stuff ain't GMO'd Frankenfood bullshit. You fuckers that are drinking that goddamn corn liquor shit and all that shit that's in cans and bottles, you're fucked up retards, and you will be the idiocracy of the very near future. I finished before I went to the store and grabbed a big handful of ripe bananas because they know I will buy them. If I won't buy them if they don't have brown spots on them, if there's any green at all, I will not buy them. They know. And I get them 2 for $1 because other people, retards, you know, people from, as they say in Maine, out of state people from away, they will only buy like the green. Okay, let's be honest here. There are some green bananas that are still sweet and don't have that hint and stink of the stink bug. But that's pretty fucking rare. But you're still up at Walmart, you're paying 48 cents a pound for what is mostly fiber. And, I can get them here fully mature and ripe for 2 for $1. More than a pound for $1. And they're ripe. Yeah, I didn't really get to hear it to the last end of it because we talked, myself and the lady in the last video, we talked for another half hour past that point at which I turned off the camera. She's not rich. Those bills were in circulation. She even had like a Yankee haircut. Short, but, still kind of feminine, not totally butch like that girl that was walking out of Target a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. We had a lovely conversation, and she's in total agreement with me. To me, that's really what counts in life is if you agree with me, then you're fine psychologically. But if you disagree with me, that means you're a cultural, Marxist, psycho, loser, LGBTIQA plus 170 other genders that all want to, like the guy that said on YouTube, there's nothing like a good misgendering. when he was going out and provoking, misgendering, and enjoying and recording. He had a little, one of those little tripod camera stands, which I don't indulge in. Either my hand holds up the camera to the right angle or not. Not going to weigh myself down with a single gram that is not necessary. And today the lady gave me a couple of grams of what I need most, which is cotton linen president's portraits. She understood. Now I'm going to have to go on because in the last video I was saying it was somewhere around $4,800, but it depends on how you value it. If you're talking about all the food I turned away at Thanksgiving from prominent restaurants around here, it would be over $5,200, $5,400. And you know what? If I had that money in my bank account, it would give me freedom to choose non-toxic foods, clothing that fits me, clothing and food that I don't have to just throw in the dumpster. But you Christians keep insisting upon giving me what you want to give me, which tells me you're not actually a real Christian. You don't follow his words. I'm sorry, I do this shit a lot because my arm's broken and the other one ain't working too well either. So, I don't think I'm going to make it through. Let me see. Today's December 16th, so we have 8 days before Christmas begins. And if any of you fuckers make it till Christmas without me pepper spraying you, you're going to be fucking lucky. Because I've fucking had it with fucking Christians. The only ones that were putting cash in my pocket were the ones that actually cared and were actually true Christians. And there was the Christian that just wanted to convert me to Judaism. Convert me to Christianity. Actually, that fucking IBM fucker, I don't think he ever gave me a nickel. He'd go, I can't stand to go anywhere alone. Come with me up to Basil and Broth up at Stonehill and keep me company during dinner, which I ordered to go. 2 egg rolls. Eventually I realized they're done in palm oil, deep fried in palm oil. And they said, well, we throw in a couple extra, it's okay. Then he took me out to that sewer gas section of West Austin, which only a few weeks ago did I start smelling sewer gas here in Pflugerville. I don't know what was happening. Not enough flow, not enough. But I'm especially in Joey Biden, his hometown of Scranton, PA. The one memory I have of, 2 memories I have of Scranton, Pennsylvania is that the old synagogues were all vandalized. They loved busting out the stained glass windows, and they were empty. And then when you get into town, in a town that's just close to Hershey, Pennsylvania, where they make the lovely chocolate, the thing that really hangs in your mind is the fact that pretty much day and night, unless you were where I was at the 1905 tunnel that was built the year my father was born. you mostly just smell sewer gas. You know, I'm tough forever right now. I don't really give a fuck. You know, I spent a whole summer in the Scranton Wilkes-Barre area because as I scouted around town carrying an 80-pound peaked one pack full of very fine clothes, you know, most everywhere I go, I get accepted because I look like what we call Euro trash. I dress well. I carry the only pack that's ever been able to fit on male hips, the peak one. The last one, I had two. The first one I really battered up, especially in a couple of mountain climbing falls. I tore them up pretty bad. But elsewhere, like the first time I went up to the Northeast, New York City, and the Banger and stuff like that, always carried perfectly military folded and rolled shirts and pants so that anytime I would always look acceptable to the public. And a couple of pair of shoes. I love mock toes, just like the fictional character by Michael Caine in Pulp, the movie. I watched that a couple of nights ago. Please, one of the reasons y'all are watching my channel is because I don't really talk about and don't want to really fucking hear anymore about the war. My people, the Jews, will stamp out Hamas and all those who kill little old ladies and children and shit like that. Fuck yeah. It's a lovely night. It really is. I'll be going to bed early. It's only about 7 now. By 9 o'clock, I will be horizontal on this bench in a nice, you know, on YouTube earlier, they were trying to sell me a 76 by 88 sleeping bag, which has a slot for you to put you in your own pillow. Actually, I threw away my pillow today that was given to me by a big black dude back when I really needed it. There was a freeze zone earlier. And you'll hear it thanks to the big man. That's one of my previous videos. He came up here with family, money, or whatever, and provided me with everything I needed to survive that night. Because I wasn't really prepared for that early on in like freaking October or something. Oh yeah, I'm not feeling no pain now because I'm so sick of pain. I've spent most of my life in pain. And all these lesbian doctors and various dick lickers and shit like that have trained me not to even ask for pain relief because if I ask, they won't give it to me. Then they'll just give it to me without me asking. Because their x-rays and everything else says that I deserve it. But they'll give me like that German tramadol bullshit. I'll just drop that right there. Fuck that. Please, I get to sleep in the morning. You see this crevice right here? This is different. This is cheek, but Right there, that was Charlie Noble, the redheaded kid that lived on my block. Caught me right below the eye, actually right on this cheekbone, with a big ass rock during our wars. That's what kids do. And I was wearing a white t shirt. I went running the house to just wash up and put on a new t shirt. And my mother freaked out. She hadn't seen that much blood in a long time. I didn't care. I never got it stitched. You know, you rich kids here at this hypochondriac clinic, you would have demanded at least 3 to 5 cosmetic stitches. You fucking giant vagina fucking loser motherfuckers. You would have requested, demanded 5 tiny silk, like, was it silk one stitches? And all kinds of steroids and shit, so there would be any scar. And look at me like 60 years later. You can't even barely even see the scar. Fuck you. You know, that's one of the reasons I got a bromance. I love Cass Cumberford. You know, I was watching that short movie, which actually was really great. You were dancing out on you had on a nice jacket and stuff like that, and you had on some old shoes, and they started to separate at the soles, and said, "Fuck it, somebody gave you, well, who knows where they come from, some new shoes," and fucking, that's right there. I connected with Cass Cumberford, Australian. I don't like wearing shoes. He was trying to dance his little dance in brand new shoes, which are stiff, asshole. You know, there's a whole movie about the fact that old Jewish guys used to break in shoes for the rich people. And my whole life, just like my mother preferred to be pregnant, barefoot, and in the kitchen. You fucking lesbian, no good fucking pieces of shit feminists, little fucking losers with the fucking butch haircuts. You know, a real woman likes children, her own children. She likes giving birth. She likes cooking. She likes washing dishes. And she likes to be barefoot around her own house, which she mops at least once a day, minimum. You fuckers are just... I'm surrounded by women that I consider to be complete fucking losers. Because there's nothing feminine about you. There's nothing motherly about you. You want to have on $1,500 Jimmy Choo's with the red soles, and you want to dye your hair 14 colors of the rainbow and go around and talk smack about every man that's available. And because you're 51 in other countries, England, 52% of the population, you expect to be 52% of the work force, even though you have no fucking formal training nor the balls to really do it. Sad. You know, if you think I'm going to break off my relationship with Cass Comerford, who I consider to be actually an A1, number one actor who started acting late in life, you're full of shit. You can see the sun setting way behind me. way past 7 o'clock. Even these lights here, I noticed the last week or two, the people inside the building, they have a variable control voltage thing where they turn the. Last night I wasn't really too big on shooting videos because shit, I would have to turn on the lights above me, which used to be, actually that's what I'm doing right now. I'm operating off. After a while, when the maintenance man comes in, probably Hispanic, and thank God that he's Hispanic. He's going to reach up and take that variable voltage lighting and crank it down to almost zero for my comfort, because he cares. Most of the people in this clinic care. The woman came out the other day and told me that I need to get up and stuff like that. Well, there was actually somebody standing behind her with a cafe brulee and a spinach, ham, cheese croissant. Which I took my time. The people inside this clinic actually care, because they know the fact that their employer, Scott and White, has fucked me for almost 10 months now on a broken arm and ripped out rotator cuff. I'm seeing 22 minutes down there, even though I don't have my glasses on. And they're still selling shit over at the Starbucks. Yeah, hi. Yeah, you got it. That's only $83.97. Pull up the first window. You hungry, meth head, loser homos. You know, I'm going to be up late tonight. Actually, because of the alcohol, pain relieving. I may walk another 1,000 feet, even though I don't have to drop a deuce. I may go to 7-Eleven and get, because by then I know there'll only be the Hindus in there, nobody else around. I'll get a large coffee, sweetened and flavored to my preference, and come back and start getting ready for bed. Here, lying down, not setting up like last night. And they'll try to charge me $2. Last night I gave them like $1 tip, because that particular money didn't come from me. It was from donors. You know, I've had actually, let's go ahead. I'm at 28 minutes. I feel the urge to do like a number one. But you know what? When you continue to dehydrate with alcohol, you don't really have to go that very often. When you're sucking down that high fructose corn syrup, soda pop all day long, you want to piss about. Now look at this. There's still 10 ounces of scotch left in that bottle. I only started drinking about 4:30. It's now 4 or 5 hours later, and here you go. And nobody around here really cares, because just to the south of me in Austin, it's the Wild Wild West. where you can drink in public, smoke meth in public, unless it's in a private venue where they don't really encourage that. They will run you off. We're working on it this year. I'm free of it. I wasn't one of the victims, but when the Austin liberals from California and Washington and Oregon came in and took over, just because one young Mexican was part of a mob and got hit in the head, was a little fragile, little pussy self, got hit in the head with a rubber bullet, often used by South African Syndic forms. He died because he was fragile. He had almost, please, there's no, try to find any history of skull fractures in my family. That ain't happening. And within a year or so of that, they defunded the police by $113 million a year in a town that, according to them, wasn't even 800,000 people. It's actually certainly more than a million. And in the first year after defunding the police, Austin had its all-time record of 88 homicides. Now, last year it was only 71 homicides. It's mostly black on black, so nobody really cares. It's all about drugs and slinging fat sacks and pimping hoes and shit like that. But this year it's slopping over a bit. The last time I checked a few days ago, they were up to about 76, 77 homicides, one of them a cop. So there's a possibility with Christmas coming up, the avariciousness of Christmas and all the slinging of dope and shit and the hoes and all the motherfuckers, they might actually get up close to and match the all-time record of one of the most peaceful towns in Texas, a record of 88 homicides. Now, is it the guns? Or is it the fact that the police don't respond and don't care because they don't have the money? Or is it the fact that criminals don't follow gun laws? I know a lot of my recent subscribers know that I'm strictly pro Second Amendment. If you're not pro Second Amendment, you can just go ahead and unsubscribe now. Because even though I have passed 2 probations with waiver perfectly, I have my voting rights. I haven't really pushed my gun rights through the ATFE, the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Division. I don't care, because if I want a gun, I can get a gun anytime I want. They're not that expensive. I know people that will give me one for free to defend myself against the endless attempts to kill me in Austin, but this is not Austin. I'm in Pflugerville, Texas, which is a whole nother world. And you know what? I'd rather be judged by a 12 than carried by a 6. If I got to kill you, tough fucking shit. You know, down in Austin, I'm already 30 something minutes in. I really can't remember how many fuckers I have stabbed, punched, jabbed, lanced, etc. I told you about the guy who was actually begging me to cut him open. Just, you know. He was really hilarious. By the time he really started his bullshit, he already had 2 pints, that's a quart of liquor in him. And he started working on a half gallon of liquor. He said, when I was in Memphis, some guy shot me 7 times. I didn't even feel it. That's because you had a half gallon of liquor in you. And you, in some sick way, go out looking for people like me to stab you, cut you up, maul you, and shoot you. Does that mean that I'm mentally ill? No, it means that you're mentally ill. I don't really care how long I go tonight. Oh shit, that trough took me a lighter. Even though I have about like 7 or 8 lighters. Long time ago in Pennsylvania, I attribute it to the Arnold the Homo, but actually it was this kind of random guy in Erie, PA, who was talking about the local shelter, which I was having to stay in because we were trying to get the bank records straightened out between the California communists, the Canadian communist telephone strike, fucking with the balance of my bank. So I had to spend about 3 nights in a shelter. And an old guy there who really didn't care about shit anymore. One of the things he told me, I attribute to my buddy Arnold. But what he said was, never go anywhere without fire and toilet paper. Truer words were never spoken because you can use fire and toilet paper to light a bigger fire. And my own advice is to carry 1 pound of 4-ounce blocks of paraffin. That way you could even light up the wettest wood on the planet. Okay, let me light me up. There you go. I'm plugged in. I got plenty of amps. I'm right now running around 38, 42 amps. And I'm about to increase it. I have money in the bank. Because you fucking Christians here in Pflugerville who are throwing too much money at me, more than I would consider consuming. What the fuck do you think I did? I put them in my bank account, and I also saved part of my disability and saved Well, actually, I spent my oil and gas money. I was, you Christians are really fucking hilarious. What a bunch of false. Your Jesus is a false prophet, just like Muhammad. He was, he hated Jews. And you actually think that by throwing endless $100 bills at me all day, Melissa Call, that you can eventually try to convert me. I may finish here. It's been months ago now. I was just kind of chilling out, and I was charging my batteries and stuff like that. And Melissa Call, probably Callaway, head of the Flugers Art Council, which is actually right next door to her church, first, the Pflugerville First United Methodist Church, which has been dumped thousands of dollars worth of shit on me that I had to get rid of. Put nothing in my pocket and just broke my back carrying their shit to the dumpster. I mean, little tiny little size 4 or 5 girls' anklets and all kind of shit that I couldn't possibly use. And that's how bad it was here. Absolutely zero consideration for the fact that some of us don't fit the norm. And especially an old man, I'm not going to put on a pair of socks that couldn't even fit my genitalia. Oh God, it's so crazy. You're so fucking crazy. You Christians are so fucking crazy. And yet my best friend, who's the only non-crazy Christian I know, is a Roman Catholic. I'll go over it again tomorrow, but it was really more than $5,000 by the individual unit retail price anywhere that you gave me. That's 90, let me think, 98% of it ended up in the dumpster because I could not give it away. I could not even open the cans. I'm sorry, this is a standard Scott and White bench, and it's a little bit hard on the upper thoracic nerves and bones. That kind of bothers me because my family provided for the first Reverend Thomas Methodist settlement in Texas, anywhere in the South or the West. And my family also provided for the Baylor College property. Okay, they may have had to pay a few shekels. That was allegedly burned down by Indians, which was probably actually the Methodists. I'm an original Texan. You're not going to fucking bullshit me with your fucking Yankee versions of history. I have a better idea what the hell went on, 200 years ago than you did. Almost 40 minutes. Melissa, call. You're a hypochondriac. This is your clinic, the Hypochondriac Clinic, right there behind me. That clinic exists. I've talked to Scott and White, and they agree. The guy, Kenny, was laughing because I was telling him that that clinic exists to keep the actual hospital less than a mile away from being overrun by wealthy, overinsured hypochondriacs at all times. It's not that hard to figure out. You know, I can't help it that I'm smarter than you. I really can't help it that you're some self absorbed hypochondriac loser, got too much, inherited too much money. You work for some corporation that gives you too much money. I can't help that. That's really your fucking problem. And that you've bought into this fucking American hypochondriasis, healthy eating, oh yeah, healthy living. I really need to take a pee right now. I'm probably gonna stop soon. But you know what? The last time I was standing out there, what is on a public easement, not the, if you can see it, there's right there, there's an ambulance passage on private property. But the other morning, I really didn't have a urinal and decided to relieve myself. And the Texas Department of Public Safety drove right past me because it's not their what do you call it? That it's not their territory. And I was standing out there with my dick in my hand and taking a leak, and they didn't do a fucking thing because it's not their jurisdiction. And the local cops have learned to leave me the fuck alone. You know, this fucking hypochondriac clinic is full of people that don't have a broken arm and a torn rotator cuff. The most they have that I've seen is morbid obesity and type 2 diabetes. That's the number one that I see because they eat that frankenfood. Do they listen to anybody? No, because they came to America as protected, you know, asylum seeking refugee towns like Austin. They've built huge businesses, trimming hedges and cleaning toilets and buildings and stuff like that. Yeah, I hear you. And they became, due to the frankenfood that they eat, they've become morbidly obese and diabetic. Just like the white woman, the non-Hispanic Caucasian that was up here the other night. I looked at her feet and could tell that she had edema. I made a remark about science to her daughter and her. That's as far as I will go. And right now in town, that's where the police don't act unless you're a real total fuck up. And you will go to jail. Pflugerville PD is chasing down some drunk, probably out on what looks like the tollway. It's a state highway that charges a toll. "45 minutes. I'm done for now. Yeah. You fuckers really need to get a fucking life. You need to get a brain. You need to read some fucking books. You know, if you're so vain that, like my brother Rolf, the demon-possessed fucker, who has had a need of glasses for 55 years, if you come up to me and you don't have your glasses on and you can't read English or Spanish, that's not my fault. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you and your government.